Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Tiny Brains podcast. I'm Kevin Joyce, CEO at Tiny Brains, and with me is Peter Graham, the Brigadier of Brains.
Good afternoon, all.
So, if you're new to this podcast, what we do every week is we take a look at the biggest stories in XR from the previous week, and we're going to kick off this week with some interesting news about the MetaQuest 3S headset.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, we spoke about recent discounts for the Quest 3S. They were roughly about 25 to $30 off on the MetaQuest store and various retailers around the world. Well, those offers have now ended. But if you're looking for a new deal, Meta are now selling refurbished MetaQuest 3S models. Now, as far as I can tell, these are only available in the US. I've looked at the Meta store in the UK, for example. I've looked at other UK retailers, and there's no refurbished models anywhere. So I think this is unique for the US. But still, you can save $30 on a 128 gig model, or you can save $40 on the bigger 256 gig model.
So, I've got to assume it's only in the US right now, currently, because the US is the biggest market. So, it's where they have quantity of headsets coming back for whatever reason, whether they're, faults in the original production line or just return for some reason and so on. Maybe in other markets, the return rate isn't so high, and thus they don't have the stock to do this with yet. I would assume as time goes on, we will see a rollout in other countries if it's proved successful in the US, if it becomes popular in the US. And it's a sheer numbers game, right?
Oh, completely. And like you say, it is about whether they've actually managed to sell enough and then have enough returns. And I would imagine that smaller countries like us, there just aren't those numbers available at the moment.
It's also interesting that the price that they've gone for is similar, if not the same, as the discounted price.
Do you think this is going to be a current trend? When Black Friday comes around, we're going to see more sort of $30 discounts.
Well, I think Black Friday is the exception to the rule, right? Everyone expects big discounts on Black Friday, but maybe it was this promotional week, 2 weeks they had was a testing ground for what price these refurbished ones should be at.
Maybe.
Maybe. Anyway, cheap Quest 3 S's, which we highly recommend. The in my personal opinion, my humble opinion, as someone who has tried or owned every Oculus slash Meta headset, the gap between the Quest 3 and Quest 3S is not huge. So I do like the Quest 3S.
Yeah, it is a great little headset. It depends if you want those pancake lenses or not.
That's the real difference, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So moving on, we have more Meta news, this time about Meta Money.
Yes, an initiative that was launched last year called the Oculus Publishing Ignition. This was to help indies and new studios get off the ground and develop for the Quest. The recent news is that one of these studios has just been founded or just been announced called I think it's CIRE Games, CIRE
Yeah, that's how I would pronounce it. Yeah.
Games. This has been founded by the lead or the VR lead from the now defunct um, Arcane Austin studio. Now, Arcane Austin, you may remember from games like Prey and Redfall, and they created some VR games. And it's Eric. Apologies if I say this wrong. Bale, Beyhl. So I'm going to say Bale. Eric has founded this new studio called CIRE Games with a few ex sort of colleagues as well as newbies, a few other people with Meta Money.
And what are they doing with that Meta Money, Pete?
Well, we don't know yet. It's a little bit too early. They've not announced what games they're going to be working on, whether it's going to be down the Meta was pushing for more lifestyle type apps, weren't they, a year ago? So they were looking for like fitness and other such apps. So I don't know if they're going down that route or whether they're going to go down the route that they're known for or they've had previous experience in. So we might see a more action sci-fi adventure, something Prey-like. Who knows? They haven't announced anything, but hopefully with this team in place and with some Meta money backing them, we might see good things.
Maybe we'll see a VR version of Redfall.
Yes, exactly. Well,
Talking about VR versions of specifically Bethesda games,
yes. Well, the big game last week, you can move for the Elder Scrolls 4. Oblivion. Well, just call it Oblivion because it's a bit of a mouthful. Uh, so Oblivion launched, well, the remastered version launched last week from Bethesda, and pretty much on a lot of platforms. You can get it on Steam. You can get it on Xbox. If you had Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you could play it straight away for free. But on Steam, if you wanted to buy it, there's another little addition. If you have UEVR, the mod that allows you to basically create any Unreal game, port any Unreal game into VR, and a lot of people have been doing this. Have you seen these, Kev?
I have indeed. So by my account, it took about 20 hours after launch for someone to actually post, "Hey, I'm playing this in VR." So good on you guys. Um, and it looks impressive. A lot of people are saying that it holds up just as well as the official version of Skyrim in VR, which is nice.
Yeah, that's it. A lot of them are posting. They've got full motion controls. Some profiles have got 3 DOFs. I think they've managed to go up to 6 DOF now as well. And yeah, it does look very impressive. With UE VR, you do have to play around with the controls quite a lot to get. It's not just a straight out the box. It'll work. You do have to play around with the settings to get all the motion controls working. But people are posting these profiles so that you can just literally port them straight across.
Yeah. And it's great. I mean, any tech out there that gets people excited about VR again, whether they've owned it for a while or they're new to it, whether it's PC VR or Quest, whatever else, all good. And there's no arguing that Oblivion Remastered was easily the biggest release of last week, if not this month, if not this quarter. And for it to be a shadow drop was insane. But also the fact that we can straight away jump in and enjoy it in VR. The crossover between people who enjoy Oblivion, that Venn diagram with people who enjoy Oblivion and people who have VR, I imagine is a PC VR specifically. I imagine is quite close. The so getting them to enjoy their PC VR once again with a game that maybe they would have played anyway, not in VR. We're not gonna. It's great. Yeah, no arguments here, none at all.
Same here.
And I am playing Oblivion Remastered. I have not hooked it up for UEVR yet. I'm playing it on Xbox, which obviously does not have any kind of VR capabilities.
No, and I am not playing Oblivion because I'm staying away from it because I have a giant back catalogue of games I need to play first.
Yeah, well, no, Backcat can wait. I've only completed Oblivion like 50 times, so got to do a 50 first. Right, moving on, we have more gaming news. It's a week of gaming stuff. And this one took me by surprise.
Yeah, that's it. On the MetaQuest store, or should I say the
Yeah.
Horizon store for Quest, Meta published the 50 best-selling Quest games. And this is in Quest's entire lifetime, so since 2019 from the original Quest. And, you know, the top 10, especially the top three, it isn't going to surprise anyone, really.
Yeah, when I say it took me by surprise, I'm not surprised at the content of the list. I'm surprised that Meta did it. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple that I was like, "Really?" But out of 50, less than 10% is going to shock you.
Well, exactly, and you're not really going to see the likes of like Batman, and some of the more recent games. You're like, oh, why are these not? Because this is from the lifetime of
Yeah.
the platform. So most of the newer titles aren't gonna show up there. Naturally, Beat Saber's at the top of the list. Unsurprising there. Job Simulator's also on there at number two, and Super Hot VR they make up the top three, which, like I say, unsurprising. We could have guessed that.
So pick one that you were shocked by.
One that I was shocked by was Virtual Desktop, which isn't a game.
Uh-huh.
It's an app to start off with. It's great to see Thrill of the Fight though. That's one of my personal favorites from back in the day.
Yeah, I see now that one for me. I wasn't surprised it's in the top 50. I was surprised it's so high.
Yes, it is about number five. So yeah, yeah. But also we have Among Us 3D as well, because I'd say Among Us 3D is reasonably new. It's only maybe a couple of years old.
But it is a huge gaming brand. And as we have discussed here regularly, and many people in the industry discussing right now, with the age of headset adoption skewing lower, and Among Us appealing to a young audience, again, let's talk about Venn diagrams.
My other surprise for the top 10 was Vader Immortal Episode 1.
Hmm.
Now, while it's not surprising that the multitude of Star Wars games in VR, the fact that Vader isn't so much a game, is it? It's more of a VR experience as they were
Yeah.
back in those days. So it's part film, part gameplay mechanics, and the fact that it's made it into the top 10, maybe just down to the Star Wars brand more than anything
Yeah.
else.
Well, I mean, it is still a great experience, as you
Hmm.
say, but it does feel old now.
Yeah,
But again, it's an easy sell, right? Yeah, look, you come face to face with Darth Vader. There we go. Done.
you get to play with lightsabers, I think.
Yeah. Who doesn't enjoy that? Just don't drop it vertical. And we're going to round up with yet another bit of gaming news. It's the gaming podcast this week.
Yeah. We like a few games here and there. This is another. Well, it's going to be a VR port or a VR update for a horror game called Pools. If you've had this has gained a bit of notoriety, the flat screen version anyway, because it is essentially a horror walking simulator. It's very atmospheric. You're essentially walking around loads of back rooms that look like swimming pools, and it's very atmospheric. And next month, on the 30th of May, they are adding a free VR update for all Steam users. So if you own the game and you own a VR headset, you can dive into this for free.
Oh, I knew you were going to make that pun.
There's also a version for PSVR 2 coming later in the year.
So yes, everybody keep an eye out for that one if you enjoy some swimming. And thank you very much for watching. We'll see you all again next week.